Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. 5 days since the World Cup has settled and dusted and all of that. And I'm gonna just give you my thoughts on the third place match and the final itself. Starting with the third place match. Anybody who missed that game, pay their respects to them, because that was probably the most entertaining game of the World Cup, I think. Honestly. I mean, you could give it to Capo Verde and Argentina that 3-3. But like, bro, 10 goals in a game. The game ended 6-4. The game ended 6-4. Insane, insane. Uh Honestly, that first half it was honestly all England. England were the only ones. England started off with arguably a worse team setup compared to their previous games as compared to France, who France was still starting Mbappe, Olise, and my Nan, mind you. Everybody the big hitters probably Olise and Mbappe, but it looked like France didn't really care that first half. They were kind of just making lazy passes, giving up the ball lazily, walking around. They really did not care. And honestly, this third place match is it's a glorified friendly match happening in the World Cup, right? You're out at that point. I think both teams at that point are just playing for pride and for their nations like respect, but they don't really care. Like most of the players are just there just to say I played in the World Cup, even if it is just a third place match and I started or whatever. Except for Kobe Mainu, who somehow still did not get off a single minute off the bench under Thomas Tuchel. Chalaba, who wasn't even in the initial squad, and got called up after somebody got hurt. I forgot who got hurt. Somebody got hurt. Dang, I can't remember. Somebody got hurt and basically led up to Chalaba getting called up and in as their replacement. And Chalaba still played more minutes than Kobe Mainu, which is crazy to think. But whatever. Yeah, all England. Really nice goal from Declan in that first play. He kind of just curled it. It looked like it wasn't gonna go in, but it kind of just went in last minute. And with each progressive goal getting, more and more piled on the scoreline, you can just see Deschamps not having a good time and actually getting mad. And I think the third or fourth goal just visibly angry because it's like, bro, come on, guys. This is my last match as manager, and you're going to make me go out sorry like this 4-0 down to halftime. So who knows what he said to those players in that halftime team talk dressing room, because at this point it's not even like they're in the World Cup final. Again, this is just for third place. But again, like I said before, this is just for pride, especially for Deschamps' last game as France's national coach team, and he, I don't know what he said to them, but he must have eaten them alive, right? So it did work because as soon as the game started again, France immediately started getting back into it, started scoring some goals. Uh, Goals by Mbappe and Dembele and Barcola, and then Olise just he was he led this World Cup with mostly assists, and that really perfectly summed up his entire tournament because this brother could not get a single shot on target. 2-3 clear cut chances to score. And if you want to say all of them, at least the last one he had where it was like a pass back between I think him and Cherokee, pass back, and he just had to put on target. He just missed the near post completely and went to the side of the post. And I don't know, bro. I don't know how Elise missed that. Apparently he was in tears after the match because he was just so frustrated, disappointed with himself, which is true. That's terrible. He's a really great player for Bayern Munich this season, even for France. He's a fantastic player and sucks. But hey, at least it was in third place match and not in the World Cup final. It was in the World Cup final. He can never let that down. But at least it was just the third place match. The star boy, the 26-year-old star boy, Bukayo Saka scoring a hat trick. He had an alright tournament, I think. He didn't really start all of them, but I think, in the game against Mexico, he did provide that first assist to Jude to dunk on us. And he obviously scored a hat trick. And Jude, speaking of him, nice enough to give Saka the penalty. And honestly, me myself, as I was watching it, the commentary said as well, but I kind of had flashbacks to that Euro final against Italy, where he famously missed or infamously missed. But he scored the pen, and that kind of just sealed the game. And then a last minute break, and Jude puts in the back of the net, and it was 6-4, and that's it. The game ends. Um, Honestly, it was just a really end to end game. Well, not the first half. First half was all England, but after that, it's kind of end to end. Both sides were attacking, and again, like I said, an over glorified friendly match. And Mbappe was laughing at some of those goals going in, so like he had a smile on because it was just like again, it was just a friendly match. At the end of the day, for third place, and with that, Olise ended top assister, and Mbappe wins the Golden Boot. He scored 10 goals in this World Cup, which is crazy, crazy, crazy. I don't know if goals and assists should count during the third place match, but they do. But yeah, a fun game, honestly, a really, really fun game, and not how anything was gonna happen in the final, because the final was a little boring, guys. I'm not gonna lie, the final was a little bit boring for me. Just I don't know, maybe I'm just not the purest. The purest fan was like, oh, it was like that's a very great game. No, I think it was kind of boring at times, but aside from boring, you got a little bit of action. You see CM Punk there. There was a bit of WWE in that match. Enzo Fernandez clipping, making Pau Kurbasi have his shadow shown on the pitch. That's how high he flew him up into the air off the ground. And a double yellow. Wow, I'm getting ahead of myself. Jesus, man. Early on, obviously, I think everyone expected the game to go the way it kind of did. Spain was in a dominated possession. Obviously, they have been doing that the entire tournament, and that's just how they play. So no surprise. And Argentina, I mean, yes, they deserved to be in the final because they were good enough to win it, but they weren't at their best always. They had to rely on a 38, 39-year-old Messi, right? So that kind of just shows you the way they were going to this tournament, and it showed. Spain was dominating early on. They had a clear-cut chance, and I think it was McAllister who body blocked one of the Spanish players from getting in, and the ref said nothing. I think that's a very clear foul. I don't know how I'll put it up. I don't know how that didn't get called back for anything, but whatever. I think that kind of set the tone for what the game was going to be like. Baena getting some early in fouls, and you can see the Argentinian players complaining and whining because that's all they know how to do, obviously. And I think nothing happened in that first half. There was a couple of chances, and the biggest stat line was that Argentina had 0 shots on target by the end of the regular time, which is insane. Also, that clip of Otamendi getting stepped on, but him holding up his other foot that didn't get touched at all by Rodri in the box, and disallowing the goal, which honestly, yes, there is contact. There is. Rodri's, I think it was Rodri. He's clearly stepped on Otamendi's left foot, and I'll give it. Yes, there have been some weak pens or weak. Yeah, there were some weak pens given and decisions not given for such as those weak tackles inside the box. But guys, come on, Otamendi's holding his other leg once he's on the ground, and he's already yelling even before the contact has happened. So it's like, there's nothing to do there, and the ref kind of calls for the whistle before the goal goes even in. So it's like a little weird situation. I don't know. It was a very weird situation, but whatever. Still 0-0 by that time. Only a matter of time for Spain to eventually score, because again, Argentina had nothing in this game. They had absolutely nothing to do in this game. They played a very poor game, a very disappointing game. And maybe because they finally played their first afternoon game at 3 p.m., all of the games were at nighttime, so perhaps that had an effect on the players, but I don't know what it was. They played really, really bad. And on top of that, these players are looking for fouls and doing things that are just, it's not cool. It's not cool, man. Come on. Like, I always known South American teams, more specifically Argentina, Uruguay, those kind of teams, they play a little rough. They're dirty. That's just the way they are, and it works for them. But I think it was just shameless how underhanded they try to be in this tournament, or this final specifically. Because even Messi, whenever, Cucurella goes like this, not doing this or this, no, going like this to show something, Messi immediately tries getting him sent off for that. And it's like, Messi, dog, you're losing this game. And that was happening all while the Enzo Fernandez red card situation, which as well, Enzo stayed on way too long. He should have been walking immediately. Immediately. Also, there was another angle showing where Messi tried getting the play called back because Tagliafico goes down for absolutely no reason. He goes down by himself, and Messi's pointing to the ref, pointing to Tagliafico, trying to get something against Spain or trying to get something to be reviewed so that hopefully Enzo Fernandez does not get sent off. Even and that didn't work. And it's just crazy how shameless the Argentinian players were playing. I don't know. It was really, really shocking. There was also a bit where like Giovanni Simeone is running and like he looks in front of him. It's Cucurella, and Cucurella is looking at the ball. He doesn't know what's going on or what's behind it. So Giovanni just runs into Cucurella, and they're hoping for a foul for that. It's like, yes, but that probably is a foul if the defender is looking and trying to body block and stop him. Cucurella has no idea who's behind him or what's going on, and Simeone just runs into him and he's crying, hoping for a foul to be called because they had nothing to go on this game. That's how terrible these Argentines were playing. Is that they were crying and whining, complaining for the ref for something to be given, just so that they can get back to the game. And lo and behold, the goal scorer was El Tiburon, was Ferran Torres, and that brother missed some very easy goals this term as well. And he has a pretty easy track record to follow of him missing easy shots. He scored the most important goal in the later stages of extra time. And it was a really good cross. I think it was from Lamine. Lamine crosses in. Inaki heads it back in. And Ferran Torres is there just to, head it back in. And who was marking Ferran Torres? Giovanni Simeone, rolling up his socks. And before this tournament, I really liked Giovanni. I thought he's really good for Atletico de Madrid. He's a hustler. He plays really good ball. After this tournament, very disappointed in him. Very, very. My perception of him has kind of gone down a lot. He's still a great player. I think he's still really good. But I don't know, man. These Argentines, when they put on that white and blue shirt, man, they just, I don't know, man. I don't know what it is. And even after the game celebrations, I think Leandro Paredes is like attacking Gavi and pulling him by the shirt, and like it's a whole debacle. The Argentinian players showing their backs to Spain during the World Cup celebration, then lifting the trophy. It's terrible. It's like there's no sportsmanship from these Argentinian players, and it just really shows how, I don't know, little respect they have for their opponents and I guess for everybody else. Because I saw something, I'll put up the threads, basically Paredes doing that to Gavi because he didn't like how the Spanish players were celebrating in front of him and making him feel disrespected and wanting that respect. Buddy, you guys specifically are always celebrating in people's faces when y'all won games. In 2022 against Netherlands after the penalty shootout, the last game against England, Romero literally visibly celebrating in front of the Pickford, Jude. You guys are doing it so y'all can take it and dish it out, but y'all can't handle it. That's what we're saying now. And then also Otamendi getting upset at Rodri for what the newspaper were saying about how they quoted Rodri and Laporte saying the things that were going against Argentina in the referee situation, and he got upset by that. It's like, they're just words. Why are you getting upset by that? And now they're getting upset because they lost. So even more reason. If they had won, he would have never brought this up. Otamendi would have never brought this up and started talking to Rodri on cameras. But since they lost, he has to bring it up. Honestly, very well deserved. I'm glad Argentina lost. I didn't want them to win. And they lost. They lost to the better team. So, football won. Football won. Right? I don't really like that saying, but they did. Football did win. The better team won. And back to back, I guess every single time Spain wins the Euros, they have to automatically follow it up with the World Cup. So, happened in 2010 with Vicente del Bosque. Now happened again with De La Fuente. So, we'll see. And these Spanish players are still young. Corbasi, insane. Rodri, insane. Simeone, insane. Like, they sucked up all the awards. It's crazy. Yeah, guys, that's it for me. Later.